Interesting things going on in the AL West, good and bad. Yeah, the good, the bad, the ugly. Right now, the ugly just happens to be the Seattle Mariners. They are struggling mightily. Now, here to talk about that ball club and exactly what the problems are, and are they retooling in the offseason during this trade deadline, trying to get better for next year? That is the biggest question right now. So here in to talk about that, we have from SotoMojo.com. We've got Keith Myers on Skype right now. Keith, thanks so much for taking time out of the day. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. So, I mean, I obviously, being a Boston Red Sox fan, am doing a little bit better than you are doing right now. I mean, those were just not fun games to watch this weekend.
Well, I'm sure they were fun for you. They were not fun for me and the other Seattle Mariners fans out there.
Let's talk about this club right now. The one thing I find interesting is they started out actually a pretty decent team. A lot of people were saying, the Mariners, they don't look bad. Justin Smoak was swinging the bat well. I actually went to the game at the beginning of the season when they played the Sox. And, the Mariners, they actually looked pretty good. However, things have turned and they're in the midst of a 15-game losing streak. Set it up for me. How is this happening?
Well, the wheels have just completely come off. And a lot of it is, it's kind of predictable in that we knew the offense was not very good. They were winning with their pitching. They were winning a lot of 2-1 games, 3-2 games, things like that. Winning with their pitching, but the offense has just really never gotten on board since they've gone on this road trip. The 3 games in Toronto and then the 3 games here in against your team, the Boston. The offense has come alive. They've actually scored some runs. I think they've been averaging 5 runs a game, which would have been enough to win earlier in the year, but the pitching has just completely fallen apart. What you've got now is you've got I think this is a pitching staff that's just been too taxed. They've been really fighting for every run and to keep every game close. And I think at this point they've just sort of lost. They lost that edge. They're all of them are giving up runs. Michael Pineda's giving up runs. Felix Hernandez is giving up a lot of runs. And when you start doing that, you're just not going to win a lot of games, especially when you've got an offense that isn't that good. And so they're really going to struggle until the pitching gets it back together, or until they get some offensive help. They're going to struggle to win games right now.
I mean, is this a team that is going to attempt to get better for next year, or is this a team that's going to say, hey, you know what, let's just see what we could do in 2013, 2014?
No, I really think they're actually going to get better, try and get better for next year. They're in a weird position. They've got a lot of veteran contracts that are about to end that they want to get rid of. They're going to look like the traditional sellers at times as they try and unload contracts like Adam Kennedy and Jamie Wright and Chris Ray. Some of these players, but these are role players on the Mariners. They're going to be role players on another team. They're not going to fetch any big-time prospects. But the Mariners also have a lot of players that they think that they can flip for some better talent. And I really see the Mariners going after somebody like Hunter Pence from down in Houston. At this point, they're not going for it. They're not going to look for any kind of short-term player. They must go through and find players that are going to help in 2012 and hopefully 2013. But they want major league level players, and I think we can find situations where they'll go and do that. They'll find a 3-team trade where they'll send a pitcher like Jason Vargas to one of the teams that's desperate for pitching, like your Boston Red Sox seem to be. They're going to send a pitcher that way and add some prospects to the deal, like a Carlos Peguero. Or a Michael Saunders, that kind of prospect down to Houston, and then whatever prospects they get from a team like Boston down there in order to get a Hunter Pence back. I mean, that's a type of deal that we should be kind of looking at as a possibility. And most people would think that's kind of outside the box thinking, they're not a good team, they're out of contention, let's just sell off veterans. But I really think that that's the angle that Jack Zduriencik's going to go. If you look 2 years ago when the Mariners were in a very similar spot back in 2009 where they'd won some games but they weren't in contention, Zduriencik went and got Ian Snell and Jack Wilson from the Pirates in what looked like a buy move where they were trying to acquire major league level talent rather than just sell off players. That particular deal didn't work out as well as I think most Mariner fans would like, but it was still something that you wouldn't have expected, seeing how far out of first place they were at the time. So I think a similar type deal where they could get a player, that would come in and help for a couple of years, that would be the type of thing that the Mariners would be looking for.